Okay, welcome back to Least Common Multiples. Today we're going to be learning about the least common multiples of monomials. So you'll find some similarities, again, with finding greatest common factor, but there will also be some differences. The main one is that when we're finding multiples, remember that your answer will be more than, so we'll be looking at things that are bigger than maybe what we started. So let's start by watching a movie, a little video clip of this, and then we'll work a couple on our own.
In this tutorial, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to find the LCM of two different monomials. So remember, a monomial is a combination of a number with some variables. To do this, we're going to set it up exactly the same as how we did with the GCF. And I'm going to do this two different ways again. So I have 8a squared bc cubed and 20ac cubed. Just like with GCF, I'm going to start with the numbers. What's a common factor of both 8 and 20? Well, I know 4 goes into both of those. So 8 divided by 4 is 2a squared bc cubed. And 20 divided by 4 is 5ac cubed. 2 and 5 have no common factors, so now I'm going to work with the variables. I'm going to go one variable at a time. I'm just going to focus on the a's. I have a squared and I have a. Well, the smallest factor of a squared and a, or the common factor, is 1a. So I've got 2a squared divided by a is a. bc cubed. 5a divided by a is 1, so we don't write it. c cubed. Now I'll move on to the b's. I have a b in the monomial on the left, but not on the right, so there's actually no common factors. So let's just jump to c now. I have c cubed on the left and c cubed on the right, so the common factor there is c cubed, leaving me with 2ab on the left and just 5 on the right. So if you recall from the last lesson, the numbers here on the left actually form the GCF. So the GCF, in this particular case, I'll just write it down here as a reminder, the GCF is 4ac cubed. I get that from the numbers on the left. To find the LCM, I take those numbers on the left and include the numbers on the bottom. And if you look really closely, you can see that that actually makes the shape of an L, which I like to use as a reminder for LCM. So the LCM is, I'm going to organize this a little bit differently. I've got 4 times 2 times 5, those are the numbers. And then I have a c cubed and ab. So those are the variables at the end. So let's multiply those. 4 times 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10, times 4 is 40. An a here and an a here, so that's going to be a squared. Then I have my single b and the c cubed. So that's how I can use double division to find the LCM of two monomials. But there's also a slightly different way that we can do this. The other way, what we're going to do is we're going to do it again by comparing powers. So I'm going to start off with just finding the LCM of the numerical part of each term, or the coefficient for each term. 8 and 20, common factor of 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Here's that L for LCM. So I know that the LCM is 4 times 2 times 5, which equals 40 again. But now let's look at how we can compare powers. So this time, I am looking for the highest power. And the reason why it's the highest power is, remember, this is about multiples, and multiples tend to be bigger than the original values. So let's compare my powers. I have a squared and a. Well, a squared is higher than a, so a squared is part of my LCM. Let's compare b's. I have b over here, and there's no b here. So let's just kind of look at that for a second. A b with nothing there is really a power of 1. And b to the power of 1 is higher than no b, which really is b to the power of 0. But we'll we'll get to that a little bit later. So the b and c cubed and c cubed, well, those are the same, so it's just going to be a c cubed. So there's two different techniques you can really use to actually determine the variable part of the LCM. You can divide them out by the method here on the left, or you can just compare powers as shown by the blue on the right.
Okay, let's give these a try. We can do it two different ways. So we can start with the variables included, so 8a cubed b c to the 4th power and 12a c to the 4th power. Then we can find the factors of the numbers. So we'll do 4, which goes in 2, bring down the variables. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, now look for any common factors. We can divide by an a, so we'll have 2a squared b c to the 4th. 3, this a divided by a is 1, so it just leaves c to the 4th. Now we can do the c's, and there's a c to the 4th here and a c to the 4th here, so we can divide by both, and we could get 2a squared b and 3, and with no other common factors, we can go ahead and multiply everything that's in the shape of an L. Okay, so 4 times a times c to the 4th times 2. All right, and when I write this, I'm going to go ahead and do what he did and bring the numbers first. So we'll have the coefficients 4 times 2 times 3. Then we had a times c to the 4th times a squared b. So 4 times 2 is 8 times 3 is 24. We have 1a times a squared. So when we do the multiplication of the variables, we would add 1 and 2, so we would have 3 factors of a, and then we have 1 factor of b and c to the 4th. Going back over and doing just the numbers, if you like it that way, then you're multiplying the numbers. So again, you have 24. Now let's compare powers. We have a cubed and a to the 1st. Which one has the highest power? A cubed. Let's look at the b's. B to the 1st or b to the 0. There's no b's over on the right-hand side, but it has to be part of our multiples because it's a part of one of the starting points. So we have one b that has to be there. And then c to the 4th. They are the same, so it makes it easy. And you get the same thing either way. So depending on which method you like to use, hopefully you can find that one of them is helpful to you. Let's try it out. So I'm going to compare. Okay, I'm going to do the numbers. I'm going to do 6 and 7. Well, since 7's prime, I know that these two numbers are already relatively prime, so instead of doing a ladder, I'm going to go ahead and multiply them. So 6 times 7 is 42. So for my LCM, the number part will be 42. Now let's compare the variables. X to the 1st power, x to the squared, so x squared is in there. Y to the 1st power, y to the 1st power, so y is in there. Okay, looking at these, let's do the numbers. Okay, they are all divisible by 11. All right, now we have at least 2 of them divisible by 2. And this one gets a free ride down to the bottom. And now we have 2 of them divisible by 1, but that's not going to make any difference. So we're really down to the end, and we want to multiply the numbers in the shape of an L. So 11 times 2, which is 22, times 1 times 2. So we have 44. Now let's tackle these variables. We have a to the 4th, and squared. The highest power is 4. b to the 7th, to the 5th, and to the 6th. The highest power is 7. There are no other variables, so we are done.